Welcome to Cinema Discussions. My name is John. I am joined by Vaughan. We are discussing tonight The Secret Life of Pets.
Joining you as a senior talking animal correspondent.
Yes, all the way back from Dr. Dolittle and Mr. Ed. Talking animals has been a part of our lives for a long time. This film comes to us from Universal Pictures and Illumination Entertainment. Universal's attempt at Pixar, I think.
Kind of.
It's their. They're trying. They've got references to their past movies within the films. They've got the shorts beforehand now.
The short and opening, yeah.
Yeah, they're really going after it. So it's their thing. So before we get into spoilers on the film, we're going to give our recommendation for the film. So how would you recommend this to audiences?
Well, good for children.
Yeah.
Definitely. I would say it's all right for adults.
Yeah, it's got good stuff in there. The animation's good. The characters are decent. There's good stuff in there. We'll get into more as we talk about that.
Yeah.
But I think it's not Pixar.
No. Well, what I really think is a lot of people might go into this thinking it's trying to be the next Zootopia. And
yes, it is very much not Zootopia.
Yeah.
This is much more pets being pets and not animals dealing with the strong social issues of humans. And I'll say that the last one that I remember that we saw from this company was Minions, so I'm going to say better than Minions.
Minions, unfortunately, was not given a chance to reach its full potential.
Yeah, that was kind of a misstep as far as the film went, but it's closer in line.
Well, my short recommendation: give it a try if you have the time.
Yeah, I think it's worth checking out, but not necessarily essential. Rush out to see it right now.
Yeah.
So now, spoiler alert, we're going to get into
spoiler time.
All the details of it. So this film, they really base it on having a lot of comedians in the voice roles.
Yes.
And that was a big thing leading up to it. Louis C.K., Eric Stone Street, Kevin Hart, Steve Coogan, Ellie Kemper, Bobby Moynihan, Dana Bell, Hannibal Buress, Jenny Slate, Albert Brooks, who's got 2 animated films out at the same time now with Finding Dory. So good on him.
Yeah.
So they really based it a lot on that, and so Louis C.K. for a lot of the time, he's actually in the beginning part you see him much happier than his character usually is in his stand-up and other things. But then he gets more into that kind of whiny, complaining about his life situation and stuff, that's what we know for him there. Kevin Hart has that same Kevin Hart character and energy as he does in every movie.
True, yeah.
It felt like with Central Intelligence or with any of the films I see with Kevin Hart in them, he doesn't have a lot of range in his characters. It's generally just...
No, not in the characters that he is given.
Yeah.
Right. Although I'm sure some people might try and make some kind of metaphor or allegory to the fact that he's a black man playing the voice of a white rabbit.
Possibly. Possibly. I don't know. He's definitely the character, whether or not, just because the rabbit's white in there. The rabbit character was definitely the kind of Malcolm X crossed with a little Harriet Tubman, but a lot more in the Malcolm X violence. But breaking away from the bonds
who's the other name I'm thinking of? So it's kind of the short version
of terrible are we at Black History?
Yeah, the short of who the rabbit character is, that he is in charge of these abandoned pets, who live down in the sewers of New York City, and he has this very vague plan for getting revenge on the humans. And it kind of goes from there.
Yeah. So you do have, I think that's the most kind of socio-political.
Yeah, it's getting deeper than that.
No. And they're kind of like, it's also similar to just street gangs as well, with their initiations and their, whether you're a part of us or not. I want to backtrack a bit and start off with the short beforehand, the Minions lawnmower thing, which I thought was pretty fun. I think the Minions, the Minions movie was a lot of stuff with the Minions, and it didn't really pan out well.
Yeah.
But seeing them in their own short, I think, is a good place for them.
Giving them shorts or like sketch comedy would be better.
So in the film there were a couple Minions references. They had them in the background here and there, like of stuffed animals or the costume that the one dog was in.
One dog shows up dressed as a Minion at the very end of the movie.
But what I also liked was the garden gnome. That was the garden gnome from the beginning scene in the short, and then you see them run into the gnome later. At first it was just in the background, and I was like, oh, it's a cool little thing that you might be able to miss. And then they just like pull it right in the face, so it's not like an Easter egg from a Pixar movie where you have to look really hard to find it. This was just right there, obvious. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. But back to the main film. When I first saw the trailers, it looked a lot like Toy Story, the first Toy Story, as far as the plot, where you've got the favorite toy, then a new one comes in, and they have this scheme to get rid of them, but they both end up getting lost, and now have to try to get back to their owner before the owner leaves without them or moves on without them. And you've got the group of other toys, or pets in this case, that are trying to come after and find them. Yeah. So the basics of the story, it's the same thing, but in the details of it, they go a different route throughout it. There's slightly different things you encounter because the personalities of the people the other pets that they encounter are different. The other animals are just slightly different, so it leads them into different scenarios that you don't get exactly in the other one, and you don't have. The problem gets solved before their owner comes home.
True. Yeah.
So that there's never the owner doesn't worry at all. They just life is normal.
Apparently all of this takes place within the scope of one work day for this lady. Yeah.
So it's a big busy day. It's kind of like 24, but it's feasible. Although there's so many times in the film, and it's an animated film, where they do things that are little physical impossibilities. A lot of them are moving, the way they move through things and stuff. Those are kind of bugging me, but whatever. It's an animated movie. Forgive it to some. They don't. It's just certain things like they could have done something a little differently when they're moving through things that they could have easily done it another way that would have made it more realism in there, but whatever.
But not as funny.
Yeah. It's also the kind of things where they have a lot of animals doing CGI animals doing extreme stunts that would be very, very horrible and abusive to actual animals. So I hope no kids are going home being like, I want to launch my dog across the room like they did in that movie.
Yeah. Or play wall darts with kittens.
Yes, well, you should do that, actually. That looks like a lot of fun.
Bullseye!
What were some of your thoughts on the film? Favorite things in it?
I would say that a lot of the characters depend on the viewer having a series of I don't want to say stereotypes, but like typical traits associated with behavior of various animals.
Yes.
Since dogs and cats make up the majority of the characters, so we're all familiar with many of them. Different breeds have different sort of behavior types. Yeah. A lot of the times. I would say a fair amount of the character development depends on you knowing what those are ahead of time. But they give more development, to the main characters. They meet. They don't like each other. So the two dogs, Max and Duke. Yeah. They meet. They don't like each other. Duke kind of throws around that he's a bigger dog now. Some more shenanigans happens, and then they get out of the apartment, and it goes on from there. They get into trouble, so now they had to work together, and by the end of it, they had to be buddies again.
And both the dogs are rescues. They're not.
Yeah, they're both adopted.
Yeah, they're not bought from a store or a puppy farm or any of that stuff. So there's good messages in that as far as taking them, and also when Duke's worried about getting sent back to the pound, he's like, I've already been there before, and they're going to euthanize me. He says it's the end of the road. He doesn't say the way he's saying that. So you still. I think that the film speaks to the world of pet ownership and adoption and that kind of stuff. More than trying to get some sort of larger message about humanity out in there. It's definitely messages about pets.
Yeah.
About animals. And the thing with the story arc of the bunny was kind of nice because he starts his story is that he was a magician's animal, and so he thought he was nice and taken care for while he was useful, and then the magician stopped needing him, stopped doing rabbit tricks, and got rid of him. So he was hurt by that. He's kind of like Lotso in Toy Story 3. Kind of where he's...
Oh, that's the bear, right?
Yeah.
Right.
He was lost and left behind, but the thing where, you thought you had the love of
abandoned in general.
Yeah, abandoned. Yeah. But he gets the end where, the little girl picks him up, and at first he's fighting it. He's like, no, I'm, anti-ownership. That's
He's like, rawr, I am evil. Don't put me down.
And then gives up, and it's like, this is actually going to be pretty nice because there's a human that will love me and it'll be great. So he gets the turnaround in there, and that's to me that kind of thing of you've got dogs like Duke where they founded the pound, but they're super happy and eager to be adopted. They seem like they're kind of like, oh, that's obviously one. But then you look at like a hardened animal, that kind of thing, where you're like, oh, that animal's hardened and needs to be put down. But what they're showing in that case is no, you can actually, if you take the time and train the animals and work with them and actually love the animal, you can turn around the hardened animal and still make it a nice.
They only showed that happening to the one underground character.
That's all they showed it so far in that, but because it's the leader of them, there's more potential that the other ones could have a home at the end of it. The other animals seem to be well off at the end of it. They were partying at the end. They just didn't show them with own.
Oh yeah, a lot of the pets in the abandoned ones, they did show up at that one at the poodle's house.
Yep. Is there only one death in the whole movie? The snake?
Yeah, the viper. I believe so. Yeah.
It's the only death, and they cartoon kill that one. That was another moment when the giant chunk fell off. I was like, all right, there's obviously much more structural damage to the place that they're in right now with that large of a chunk falling out. There's going to be more.
1, 2, 3,
and it's on fire.
And fire.
There should be some more image of that, but that was kind of a Looney Tunes moment in that. But it's not like a kind of Pixar movie death and emotional kind of thing. They don't.
Oh yeah.
They don't really play with emotions hard in it in that way.
No, because even if they had, there was nothing. There was no investment in this snake character.
Absolutely not.
He was on there for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's just that saved them from getting bit. But there isn't. I don't know. There's definitely. I'm sure that there's people who can connect if they've got specific stories that relate to this exactly for the emotional thing of using a pet or something, and that they can get emotionally involved in it more. But I think what it didn't do for me that a lot of the Pixar movies do is the Pixar movies will hit on large universal emotional things where they can invest you into the characters and into the situation in a way that even though, like in the beginning of Up, you don't have to have lived through the life experiences that Carl and Ellie have to get emotional at watching what happens to them in there. And, but whereas if you have dealt with the specifics in those cases, you're going to feel it more. but even someone who hasn't dealt with that, like, they can understand that emotion because of the way they presented it. So in this one, I didn't feel moments like that where it was emotional in that way, where I felt for them.
Yeah.
I was enjoying their kind of journey and seeing how they go. Although part of it too was thinking about, you've got the two pets who are now on the other island, far around Manhattan, far away, or Brooklyn.
No, they're on Brooklyn.
They go to Brooklyn, and they're far away and lost. And then all of the other pets are coming to them. And I was like, they're all just going to be stuck far away from there. So.
Yeah.
Tough for them to all get back. It's a long series of circumstances. There are a lot of coincidence that allows them to get back home that we don't even really cover. After they take down the animals over there, they're like, and they get back home safely.
Yeah.
Which to me, it's this giant homeward bound journey that should Milo notice trip to try to get them to go back to home, because
if you were going to do that, then the escape from the animal control vehicle would have been the middle climax, not the ending climax.
That's what my thought on that would be too. But I do kind of like that they went and did Duke's story of trying to find his old owner.
Yeah.
And the idea. Well, I guess there's another character death in there, an off-screen death, because his owner isn't there anymore. And his owner was getting pretty old, so unless his owner moved to some retirement community, it seems like he's the kind of guy that would have just died in that home.
Oh, well, yeah, that cat that was on the porch said he died.
He said he died, but we weren't also... You don't know how much you could trust the cat.
Okay.
Until the other family comes up. But
True. He says that.
Yeah, so there's another death, and that one was a little more of an emotional kind of thing, maybe, but we didn't get to it. We got a little bit, like, we heard about him and found that. But
that little part of the Duke arc was kind of necessary. In the beginning, they wrote him to be kind of a jerk dog.
Yes.
Yeah, which they I guess either conveniently or necessarily had to hide from the trailers.
Yeah. But it worked really well. I also like that most of the trailer material was in the first 5 minutes of the movie. All the jokes and stuff that they threw into the trailers, they got that out of the way really quickly in the beginning of the film, so that you're not there's not moments at least in the theatrical trailers, like what happens with so many trailers, where there's like crucial moments or big jokes in there that happen later in the film that have already been spoiled in the trailer. I always like when trailers just get the initial what to kind of expect in the film and things that are shown in the beginning, and then that's out of the way and you can just enjoy the rest of it. Yeah. So as far as trailers go, I think they did a great job with that. The animation's really good on it. It's similar to any of the other Despicable Me or something.
It's pretty close.
A little more on that. The water looks really good, similar to the stuff in the newer Pixar movies.
Animation pretty much on par with that.
Yeah, but it wasn't like the hyper realistic. Like the water seemed really good, so that was one thing I was noticing, because they've been in Lost in the last The Good Dinosaur and in Finding Dory, they've been doing a lot of water stuff in there. But the rest of the stuff was still kind of the cartoony stuff, but it fit within their world. It didn't seem out of place or anything. So technically good on all of that stuff. I like the sausage eating scene.
That's where they got the movie Sausage Party from.
Yes, that was making me think of exactly that movie. And then my other thought, as the only two animal catchers in the whole city.
All two of them.
Yeah, who already went through one car that got exploded and then went back to their headquarters, got another truck.
It was like, well, shit, we're still on duty today.
Instead of sending out two other guys, it's the same two guys sent out to across the way to Brooklyn.
They ended up in Brooklyn, so somehow still in their work zone.
Apparently their area is very large.
Yeah, holy crap.
Which is probably why there are so many underground pets that are animals that aren't caught, because there were only two people servicing all of the New York area.
I mean, I know New York has budget problems, but geez.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You think you're cutting back in the wrong place.
Yeah. So they kind of in the sausage factory, and at which point I'm thinking, every time they're eating sausages, like that whole batch, every everything that's even been in the area at that time needs to be thrown out.
It's now contaminated.
At that point, the air, so anything in that building, that's a lot of wasted hot dogs. Yeah. I liked also the translation of the barking to their dialogue. That was a nice thing of their like.
In the parts where they're switching between the dog talking and then what people hear.
Yeah, so they're not understanding what they're actually saying.
Yeah.
What I didn't like as much the difference between the cat played by Lake Bell.
Chloe.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
Her difference between when she's full cat and talking seemed there seemed to be a disconnect in there. They didn't seem to match exactly with the personality of the cat to the personality of the talking cat.
Okay.
To me, it was just a little off. I don't know. Maybe I'm more used to if I had heard like the Garfield type voice, either the one from the animated series or Bill Murray. Like that was the kind of voice I was expecting to hear from that cat.
Oh.
But I heard a more like I would think of a more aristocratic kind of cat, like Aristocats, that kind of the Siamese, right? Like something that's more snooty and wouldn't just be a glutton. It didn't sound like a glutton cat voice and personality in the rest of the dialogue reading. So part of that seemed a little off. The other voices kind of matched the personality of the animal in their other instincts. But that one just seemed off to me for some reason. Yeah. Any other glaring things in there? Big things that you didn't like in it, or just?
I did. I laughed quite a lot at the stuff that was happening.
During the beginning, a lot of the other people in the theater were laughing at stuff, and to me, it wasn't clicking with me. And then I think partway through the parts of the movie, I kind of was trying to think if it was just I was somehow prejudiced towards the movie of not wanting to like it, or not wanting to laugh, and then I was trying hard to not like the movie. It started getting in my head with it, because I'm like, am I just not liking this, or am I missing something?
You don't want to go in actively thinking about it, because then you'll be analyzing it too much, and you kind of lose where it is. It is a kids movie.
Yeah. Well, I think to me what was annoying me, first of all, the whole theater experience wasn't that great as I was there, because there were a lot of kids and a lot of parents that were laughing at they were laughing at the trailer for 9 Lives. And they seem to really be enjoying that trailer for 9 Lives. And so that's, like, right off the bat, I was just soured to the whole audience. I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
They think that's good.
Oh my god.
But I think some of the things that were bugging me in the beginning was I'm just not, I just didn't care as much about the pet habits jokes. I'm so used to them as the memes online that like, it didn't seem as anything new, and I'm like, yeah, I get it, and that's what, isn't it funny how pets do this? And I was like, I wanted that to be over so I could get to the story on the rest of it. So I think that was part of it for me, is I didn't have time for their nonsense with it. And the other thing it bugged me in the trailer too, and it was bugged me in the film, but when Chloe the cat is going to get the chicken, eats it, then after it's done, falls down and sees the cake.
Yeah.
If the cat opened the fridge, would see the cake first.
Yeah.
Not.
Are you gonna?
Yeah, it's going to see you do the bottom one first,
you have to climb
and then then after it's done, you look up and see the other one.
Yeah, that didn't quite work.
But then you don't have the struggle and the thing.
Yeah.
There's different things with it, but that was just bugging me on that. Like, you would have known the cake is there.
I mean, really.
Yeah. Anyway. The movie's already made, according to Wikipedia, it's not checking box office mojo, but already over opening weekend made $145 million. It says the budget was only $75 million. So
that's kind of low for an animated.
That is low. I think it's maybe they didn't have as much assurance in it. Other things I noticed in this film, hidden in the background, well, not hidden, when they went to Times Square, all the advertisements, aside from certain product placements, most of them were for other NBC Universal products. So The Voice was on there, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. They had
there was a poster for the next movie.
Yes, Sing. There was a poster for Sing in there.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny in the trailers for Sing for the last couple weeks. The thing has been saying from the studio that brought you Despicable Me and The Secret Life of Pets. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was kind of odd before Secret Life of Pets was out. They were like, remember when we made this movie? That isn't out yet. We've also got this movie.
Hey, remember that we're about to release this movie?
You can't do that. It can't be like when they have the commercials for the BFG. It's like from the director of Ready Player One. Like, it doesn't count if we haven't seen it yet. You can't rest on those laurels. I think because all they had was Despicable Me 2, and Minions.
Yeah.
To go with, they're like, well, we can't use Minions.
Oh no, I say Minions.
And I can say Despicable Me.
You can't say 2.
Screw it, just put Pets.
Yeah.
Put that one in there. Give you some difference on there. So we'll see. They go with their different animal stuff in a whole a Zootopia-esque world in Sing that we see.
That is Zootopia.
Anthropomorphic animals living in there. So we'll see how that one goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not expecting much from it.
The main thing that bugs me with the trailer for Sing is it sounds like it's just the original singers singing their songs.
Yeah. But
in a way that it's supposed to be like an American Idol or The Voice singing competition.
Yeah.
Or America's Got Talent, I think, kind of the way, but
whichever.
Whatever, one of those. It's so like you hear whatever artist it is just doing their song or playing the recording of their song or something, and it's kind of takes away from
when it goes back to their speaking voice, it's a different person.
Yeah, but it takes away from the thing about American Idol, which is the hearing just some nobody sing really well, and you're like, oh, that sounds really good. But it's really tough to duplicate that in a movie. Because you're like, all right, do we cast unknowns in the voice roles? And it's really tough to, because you're not, even if you cast unknowns and then they sing really well, it's not going to be this kind of surprise because you've casted them in this pre-made film. So it's an odd thing to try to make a movie about a singing competition. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully there's a good story around it.
And throughout the trailers of this one, Life of Pets, they were all trailers for other animated movies.
Yes.
But within the trailers, it seemed like every one of them, to a letter, has featured a current pop song in the trailer, and presumably it's going to be in the movie too.
Yeah.
I'm like lately I've been just noticing it more, I think.
Yeah, they generally have that.
And I think the problem with that is by putting in a super contemporary pop song, pop specifically, is that you're then dating your movie forever.
Well, Secret Life of Pets got a little around that because they were using older music. They had System of a Down,
they did.
And they had Party Hard by Andy W. King.
They had Bill Withers at the end.
So it was...
So, okay.
That's not super... I mean, it's still, within the last 20 years, but for a lot of it.
There was the Bill Withers one. There was... what was it? There's another funk song, I want to say?
Yes.
Somewhere in the middle. I'm blanking on the name of it.
Now I'm getting confused with the Purge.
Yeah.
Because with Parliament Funkadelic and there, George Clinton.
So, I mean, that's okay. These songs are already dated.
They're established songs, but
no, it seems kind of silly to put in a contemporary pop song into the soundtracks of all these movies.
Kinda. It makes it so that when you make something, or even when you put a lot of modern references into an animated film, you're losing out on the, you're risking losing the classic mentality.
The classic ability of it.
Yeah, the timeless ability.
Yeah.
Because you're sticking it within that era. It mostly happens with jokes. Like if you make a bunch of jokes of the era about this current president or something, or something that was just in the news, and they put it in there. Although with an animated film, they have to add that in last minute. But
it's possible to be too.
It's the kind of Family Guy thing. Although, where the stories still work on it, but a lot of the jokes, they get super topical with it. And, even with South Park, they are to the week topical on there.
Oh, yeah.
Which I still love the stories on. They do so well with it, but it's unlike like the classic Simpsons episodes where they still make the references to current things on there, but as long as your story is intact with something that's not dependent on that, it can still work. But those jokes are going to be lost. Mm-hmm. So like if that's a reference that you've made that's a timely reference now, you watch that 20 years later and it becomes forgotten. Yeah. So the comedy it will not be as laugh out loud or laughed every minute as you want it to be. One thing I thought too in the voice acting on this, I'll mention at the end, is that I think it was Jenny Slate who played Gidget, the white Pomeranian in there. Her voice seemed one of the most different of the main cast than her normal voice.
I'm not familiar with who she is.
She's not super famous. She was on Parks and Rec as there's her picture on there, but as like a super annoying character in there, and she was also she starred in the movie Obvious Child, and she was actually in Zootopia as the mayor's assistant, the sheep.
Oh, okay.
So she was her in that one, but she had this more of a fried voice in this one. Yeah. So I at least liked that it was...
It was a weird combination of trying to sound like teenager plus some vocal fry.
Yes.
You know?
And so I thought it was at least nice to hear something that wasn't... Like, it seemed that she was going for something in voice acting to try to do something... Different, something elevated, other than just being Kevin Hart or something like that. But generally when you're hiring a big name comedian, you want them to have that voice.
You want them to be who they're famous for being.
You want them to be recognizable with that, so I get that. But because she's not as known, she has the ability to do something like that, which I think is, to me, I like that a little better when I can't obviously know exactly who they are. I guess the biggest scary moment for kids in this would be the hawk when they first get into his lair and the bones and all of that stuff. It seems like the most...
Yeah, a little bit.
Anyway, remove the viper. So it had a lot of good elements in it, and I think a decent story, and I think better than I was expecting it could be, of just expecting a Toy Story clone. Even though it is as much of a Toy Story clone as I think I thought it was going to be in the story, but...
it's pretty close to a clone, but without being accused of plagiarism.
It's that thing of like with The Force Awakens and A New Hope, where you're like, if you break it down into these overall elements, it's the same thing, but when you go with the characters and the dialogue and the situation, the specific situations they put them in, it's a completely different thing. Yeah. So I think it's that kind of difference in there. So I think it stands on its own. I don't think I had rated this on my app yet, so...
also credit to this one for having all the pets that aren't mammals included.
Yes.
That was the funny thing about Zootopia. There's no birds, there's no reptiles,
that's a kind of
other stuff. Yeah, in this one you do see a lot more variety.
I think that in Zootopia you could have called it Mammalia or something in that, but Zootopia is easier to call it. But I wonder if there's if we get a sequel or something where you understand why they're or something.
There's just different speculation I've read. There's probably reptilia somewhere.
Yeah. Not everyone can get along. Not everyone can get along like they do.
Or maybe the mammals committed genocide.
But they did a good job of everything that can be, or that is that they thought of as a pet, they put in there as a pet at some time. They got most all of it done. And I also like that they didn't have all of them speaking English, like the birds.
Oh, yeah.
Birds didn't speak English.
The birds don't talk.
Yeah, so they still didn't understand.
Except for the hawk, but the other birds don't.
Yes, the other birds didn't talk, but so that's, there's signs of other languages in that. So that was pretty decent. So what would you rate this?
I'm kind of split between 2.5 to 3.
Oh, wow. I'm definitely at a 3 on this one. I think it was good enough for that. I mean, so I think I might even go at least go 3.5 on this one. I don't think I can get to 4, but I think if it wasn't for it'd be the similarities. If there were more original in the stories, I could have gone with that. And but I think 3.5 I can be pretty solid on that. I think it was a decent film.
And I think if I saw it again, I wouldn't be laughing as much.
No,
'Cause
I may end up seeing. I'm probably going to end up seeing it again, just to watch it with other people. But I'm not looking forward to it a lot on that. But
a lot of the jokes, a lot of the interest would be lost knowing what happens.
I think that while the trailer stuff is all done in the first 5 minutes, I think that's stuff would be more enjoyable if you hadn't seen the trailer. Because then at the beginning of it, you're set off with a lot of good, like, first time seeing good laughs with that. But to me, it was just like, I remember seeing that a lot of times on the trailer before. So, good times. Thank you for watching and listening to our show. If you got movies that are coming up that you want us to check out, write to us at magiccapetv@gmail.com or find us on Facebook at Magic Cape TV. Remember, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, magiccapetv.com. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher. Leave us comments on iTunes and star rate us and all of that, and it'll get us noticed a little more. That'll be nice. You can also check out our other podcast, Instant Discussions, which is available on iTunes and Stitcher and other podcast things where we discuss movies that are on Netflix Instant Streaming. And that's all I got to plug right now. Thanks for watching. Bye.